The next part of the seminar is motions. So we basically outline the first few steps, namely the interview, the statement of claim, the statement of defense, service, and the next is the document preparation, assembly of those documents, and the next step is the motion. What is a motion? I just want to explain in basic terms actually what the motion is all about. The motion is a court procedure within an action. You decide that you, for example, want to add a party, you want to change your pleadings, and you have some reason to do something within the action which doesn't require a trial. You can ask the court to have a motion for the purpose of clarification from the court as to what should happen. I'm engaged right now in a motion to strike out the claim of the plaintiff because of lack of any cause of action, and that kind of a situation where you decide that you do not want a full trial, but some procedural issue has to be determined, is where you would do a motion. So the motion is a procedure of something within the action, and there are many more if you're in the higher court. And the small claims court also allows the motions which are not as frequent as they are in the higher courts, but the motions are allowed. There are rules to that effect in the rules of procedure, and which incidentally are different in the small claims court. The rules are quite different, but when you do not have a rule in the small claims court, normally you follow the rules of the superior court to try to clarify what you would need to do in the small claims court. So coming back to motions, the motion is a hearing, a procedure before the judge who can make a determination on that issue. For example, you want to amend the claim, you want to strike out the claim. This would be done by a motion. How do you do it? You bring a notice of motion, and there is a form for that purpose as well. You complete the notice of motion and explain to the judge what is it that you want. I want to strike out the claim. I want to amend the claim. So you write down in the notice of motion what the motion is about. Then you have a supporting material, which is usually an affidavit. What is an affidavit? Affidavit is a sworn statement of the person who has knowledge of the facts. Most of the time it is the litigant or the party to the action. He makes a statement in the affidavit format, which is sworn before a commissioner, and then he writes out the facts in that particular affidavit. And how do you draft the affidavit? It's by description in the words of the person as to what he experienced. For example, if you're bringing an action to strike out the claim of a person because he does not have a cause of action, then you would say, it's like a story essentially with paragraphs in it to say that I became involved in this particular procedure by meeting this person at a certain date. Then I had an agreement with him to do certain things. Now this is the end result of what happened, and I'm asking the court to make a decision on that issue. Now in the small claims court, what I call supporting affidavit, and where the situation is straightforward, can also be done without going to the hearing when the situation is very clear. There are rules as to what you can do and what you cannot do in terms of a hearing just by paperwork. But more often than not, you would actually have a hearing. And the way the hearing is set down is that if you're the defendant, you write a notice of motion and a supporting affidavit, then you tell the court office that you will bring a motion, they give it a date, you then, after the date is obtained, you serve that motion with the affidavit to the opposing party. On the appointed day, you show up, and if they have an answer to that motion, they prepare their own materials, bring it back to the other side, and then you have the hearing on that issue alone, not a trial, but the issue to be determined based on the procedural issue that you want the court to determine what should be done for that purpose. For example, striking the claim, amending the claim, etc. So the court makes a decision and says, yes, the court says that I approve or disapprove the change, or I and grant the costs also of the motion and say, I agree with your position, and you move forward. So I think just to summarize what a motion is all about, it's a procedure within a procedure. So if you have litigation and have some clarification to be done on a procedural issue, you bring what is called a motion.